Hey guys, we're live here. This is Danny B from DannyBTalks here. Welcome to the weekly podcast. I'm the host this week. We're looking forward to the exciting show we have on board with us today. If you have seen it, I did post a vlog today for my time at the Bristol Motor Speedway over the weekend. Did have to take it down. YouTube informed me that one of the songs I used did have a copyright claim on it. I thought the song was copyright free. Apparently it wasn't. I have found a new song that should be copyright free. I'm rendering the video right now. It'll go back up tomorrow. So just bear with me on that. You'll get to see it tomorrow. Great short track racing over the weekend, and it's going to kind of tie in to what we're going to be talking about in the first little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to our other panelist, the Iceberg.
What's up, everybody? The Iceberg here, Jarrett Lumberg. This is something I'm really excited for tonight, and I know a lot of you guys in the chat have said that you're pretty excited for. I can't wait to get started. So, Darren, you're next, bud.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Darren Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter. Had a new upload a few hours ago, or actually not a few hours, just 1 hour ago. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 2009 Bad Seasons video, another video in the Bad Season series, and excited to be here. And also finally got some new digs. Finally moved into my brand new apartment right beside the UNLV campus, and looking forward to tonight's podcast.
All right, and with that being said here, we do have a special guest on with us, Mr. Steve Wilson from Save the Speedway. Steve, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and kind of what you do, what Save the Speedway is real fast?
So I am the public relations and the webmaster for Save the Speedway. We started in 2005 as a cooperative group that was working both internally within the county and externally of researching the track and to see whether there was any viable options to bring the track back into some kind of use. Not necessarily just NASCAR use, but multi-purpose facility. And over the preceding years, we've gotten a historical designation with the state of North Carolina. We've had a historical marker that has been placed, and we work both still within the county and with various different other resources in the state of North Carolina that have approached us on our research for the history of the track over the years, as well as predominantly the economic deficit within the county itself since the track closed.
Okay. That's definitely a good way to introduce yourself there. Jared, do you want to maybe bring up any questions you had to start off with?
One thing I think especially since a lot of the people in the chat and watching right now are in a younger audience, might not have watched North Wilkesboro, might not even know exactly what track we're talking about. What, just off the top of your head, what race or races do you think they should watch or moments they should watch to sort of acquaint themselves in the racing that North Wilkesboro provided?
I think you have to look back. There's been some controversy at the track over the years. You look back into the early 1990s before the electronic scoring that is currently now used within the track. Brett Bodine, who is the current pace car driver for NASCAR, in '90 he was driving the Quaker State car. The field was picked up under caution, and he was the leader of that event. And Darrell Waltrip had pitted a lap earlier, but because of the scoring at the time, with no electronic scoring, it took them about 14 laps or so, 13, 14 laps to get this all settled out. So that's definitely a race to watch. You can go out there and you can see, just the confusion that was in this. You also take a look at some of the events with Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt wrecking into one another. Dale Earnhardt Sr. called him a chicken head, as well as some other things that I probably can't put on the air, but you're free to go out there and watch it. Ricky Rudd had to be taken out of the track by the security because of so many fans were after him. Jeff Gordon's race in 1996, that's a good race that anybody wants to see how the track actually races. And if you look back in about 95, 94, and Terry Labonte, some of the races through that era right there. There's a lot of races preceding into the 1980s, but there's very short clips because ESPN didn't, obviously was not filming full races and putting them live. So sometimes you have some hard time in the 80s finding some races. But there's a lot of good stuff in the 1990s. And then if you look up some of the racing that occurred in 2009 through 2011, which was non-NASCAR sanctioned, there's a lot of YouTube videos and Twitter, Periscope videos out there of the racing during that era.
Now, a lot of things that I see online is people, oftentimes that they'll write online, hey, make the NASCAR schedule better, bring back North Wilkesboro, and that's the goal. But a lot of people, I don't know if when they say that, I don't know if they really know the condition of the racetrack. Like, what is the actual condition right now? How much of a level of renovations is going to need to go into this place before it could be reopened again?
Well, that's really it's kind of an open-ended question, and that's one that we get an awful lot, and it's really just determinant upon what somebody wishes to do in the racetrack. In 2009, there was about $1 million spent into the track, and this was to gain occupancy into the track as well as to fix any issues, outstanding issues that would pertain to holding public events within the track. Now, of course, that was just $1 million just to gain occupancy. That wasn't the money that was spent in the preceding 2.5 years to keep the track open, as well as to continue renovating within the track. There's an estimate today that if you would like to bring something like the Can-Am, the modified super late models, as well as make it a multi-purpose facility for filming, for the fair, for other types of events, it could be done for about $3 million or so, and that's everything that needs to be taken care of. Um, Price is also contingent upon if you want to go to national level series events like the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. It's about $950,000 to $980,000 in just safer barriers that would have to be installed into the track. And that's not contingent again upon NASCAR coming back yet again after a couple of years of not being out there and saying that there might be some others. So the total price tag could be as high as $5 to $8 million. That's if you're looking for large scale events like a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. The Cup Series is never going to return to North Wilkesboro. It would only return if somebody has 100, 150, $200 million to buy another racetrack and move the date there. It's just not going to happen. Best
Hmm.
bet is to always look at the local regional racing that occurs in the Can-Am and the modifieds, the past series cars. ARCA has never done that well in North Carolina, and a lot of people ask us about why not bring ARCA there. Is because it traditionally has not done very well. It's a money losing event. But I guess again, it's a very open-ended question as to how much somebody wants to spend. But and the low end of this is in the $3 million range. The high end could be as high as $8 million or more. Price dependent on bringing in a national series event like the Camping World Truck Series.
And that's just to get it to a level where you could host those events, and then there's a whole other aspect of making sure that you're able to do it year to year. Correct?
Yeah, these are just these are just numbers that have been worked through several times over the years, and this is just what it would cost to renovate the track and reopen it to the public. This doesn't consider carrying costs and ongoing costs, sanctioning fees, other fees that are associated with running events, such as uh, everything from food supplies to paper to workers taking tickets at the front of the racetrack. Those numbers have been compiled too, and we have a pretty good estimate about what that would cost just because of what it cost between 2009 and 2011. Um, and depending on the size of the event, also depends on how much the carrying costs and the ongoing operational costs are for the track. But there is a way that it could be profitable, and that's by the use of a multi-purpose facility. I know a lot of people see it as a racetrack, but we use the analogy, or we look at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They run over 100 non-motorsports events per year, and
Hmm.
that's the only way any track is going to survive, and it's definitely the only way a track like North Wilkesboro is going to survive in today's environment.
Exactly. Even Bristol Motor Speedway, as big as it is, they're looking for events such as the football game they had a few years ago. They're looking for other things besides NASCAR. I know they host monster truck events. They host the NHRA drag races across the street at their other facility. It's all about utilizing the most out of your venue.
So my question I wanted to ask is that so basically, what is the end goal with Save the Speedway? You kind of cleared it up. You said that NASCAR is never going to return there and stuff. So essentially, the end goal is to basically have some sort of local racing at least back at the Speedway, correct?
Local racing would be a starting point and it would be a jumping off point. There's been a lot of filming opportunities that have occurred there over the last couple of years. Just as early as 2 weeks ago, Andrew Zimmerman and Bazaar Foods they televised a moonshine episode in which they followed the Moonshine Trail through North Carolina, which also kind of goes over the history of stock car racing from the rural South to Charlotte Motor Speedway that we see today. There's opportunities with Merle Fest in town. It's one of the largest bluegrass multi-day concerts in the United States. It's one of the longest running too. It's been going on for 3+ decades at this point. They bring in over 120 to 130,000 people per year to these events. There's places that people need to park. There's places that people need to camp. There's also a Shine to Wine festival. There's also concert opportunities. There's all kinds of training opportunities that can happen into the track. It is the largest seated venue in Western North Carolina, with 40,000 seats today, plus what's in the skyboxes. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and really it's endless on the things that can happen, from everything from car shows to part swaps. And the fair actually for the county used to be held there. And there's just tons of opportunity that can happen with the track. It's almost endless, but you have to think of beyond that. Our goal is to find a way to bring and recapture some of the lost economic dollars that has left the county since NASCAR left in 1996. That does start with racing. That starts with local racing. That starts with all of these other opportunities that I've gone over, with maybe an eventual end goal for a Camping World Truck Series event. Those are all things that would be contingent upon a lot of different things, but racing is one thing. Other opportunities, from filming to car shows to the fair to dozens of opportunities, have been discussed for the use of the track.
Now, this is something that I was talking about earlier. I don't know who the right people to be to contact about this, and I don't really know much about like the season of it. Kind of got off track, but I was thinking about the show, The Walking Dead. They're all the time looking for good locations to film their show, and I almost thought, hey, a racetrack would make a good location for something like that because you got it fenced in. It's a good, secure location. North Wilkesboro would be a good place if they ever wanted to consider looking for good locations for that.
There's been a lot of TV shows and a lot of filming opportunities. I just spoke of one. There's also been 3 music videos that have been filmed out there within the last year. There was a lot of opportunities last year that were both on TV and through professional usage, such as NASCAR has used the track, or NASCAR Productions. Junior Motorsports Production House have used the track for various different things. There's a lot of production opportunities within the county and within to use this facility for. Rockingham, when it was opened there briefly in 2011 through about 2014, there was a lot of filming opportunities that happened there. Unfortunately, NASCAR, you can't test with the racetrack anymore. But NASCAR looks for these tracks and for filming opportunities for NASCAR productions, not only for Fox and NBC, but also in-house.
Yeah, and a lot of movies in the past, such as Talladega Nights, they did a lot of filming at tracks like Rockingham and tracks such as that.
Yeah, a lot of film studios are really interested. They're looking for these because, first, the cost to to film at a track like North Wilkesboro versus a track like Daytona or Bristol. There's some price adjustments in there that it makes it more feasible for a lot of these, especially like I said, the 3 music videos that's already been filmed there this year. Some have been released. One is due to be released. There's been filming opportunities in the past, and each time that when one film comes through, there's 2 or 3 others that they've seen it and now they're interested in doing something. And we have a really good film commissioner within Wilkes County. She is a former film commissioner for the state of Florida, as well as tourism director in the state of Virginia. So she knows how to bring these people in and get this organized down, uh, pretty much really quickly and on the ball. And that's something that has been helpful to the track, is to kind of keep it out there, even though it's not open to the public. People are seeing it within these, like Andrew Zimmerman show. There was I think already had something like over 1 million views on YouTube in less than 2 weeks since it was released out there.
Okay.
One question I have, so there's been like different videos and different NASCAR productions out there. Are there any big public figures in the sport that have shown an expression of support towards Save the Speedway and towards bringing North Wilkesboro back? Is there anyone in particular that maybe some of the people in the audience can look up and see what they have to say as well?
I'd say about 3 weeks or so back, Kyle Busch was on Fox with Daryl Mott, and he actually brought up the usage of North Wilkesboro and said that this is a place that NASCAR should consider running at. We've had some other people in the past that spoke of the track. Kenny Wallace has spoke of the track. As far as very popular people like Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, some of those guys. Um, Many of them have been approached. Many of them think that we should go back to some kind of short track racing, even if it's not in the Cup Series. But take the trucks back to its roots to run more short tracks. Maybe Xfinity run on some more short tracks. But we've never gotten really the public support out of these drivers that we think that they could put their support behind. It's unfortunate because a lot do think we need to be running short tracks again. However, North Wilkesboro gets skipped over when they start talking of tracks that they should be running at. Eldor, which is an obvious one from Tony Stewart. People have talked about Fairground Speedways in Nashville, as well as Evergreen Speedway out in Washington, South Boston. It seems like we get skipped over every single time, and many of these other tracks out there are not as vocal on social media or even within the NASCAR circles as we are, and we have been.
So,
Okay.
all right. So, I wanted to ask, what has it been like for the city of North Wilkesboro? Like post NASCAR and stuff. Just what's been the whole impact of the whole entire city since NASCAR left?
In 2001, there was an economic survey done within the county to see what the losses of NASCAR and motorsports just by the closing of the facility of alone. It was in excess of about $30 million. There was actual reports done on some of the gas stations, the restaurants around the track within a couple of mile vicinity, and they reported that in 1996 versus 2001, they were losing about $15,000 to $18,000 a weekend, just by the track staying closed. In 2016, this was updated, and it's almost approaching $50 million in economic loss for the county alone. Since then, Lowe's has moved out. Window World has downsized. Some of the other brand names that have been in the county or were in the county have closed, from furniture to cloth and clothing looms. The glass industry has suffered a downturn. The biggest employer now in the county is Tyson. They have a factory there that they produce Holly Farms chicken still today. But just by the track staying closed every year is about $50 million of economic loss to the county, and several hundred jobs are directly impacted with a secondary impact over 1,000.
Wow. I didn't. I mean, I knew there was some sort of impact, but I had no idea that it was that severe.
Well, I think we've had John for here a little bit. We don't want to keep you too much. I think for right now, I'd like to maybe open it up to the chat a little bit if they have any questions or anything for you. Maybe we can communicate them to you.
All right.
So I'll just wait for some people to bring some questions into the chat here.
Oh, I just also wanted to ask. So, is it just North Wilkesboro you're trying to get back in action, or save? When I think of Save the Speedway, I think of so many other speedways that come to mind when I hear Save the Speedway and stuff. Or is it just North Wilkesboro that you're focusing on?
For us, our focus is just primarily on North Wilkesboro Speedway. We've been in touch with other people that have attempted to either revive tracks or save tracks or looking for resources within the state of North Carolina or nationally, or even contacts and resources within NASCAR that could help them research, their facilities. But our primary goal and our primary goal is North Wilkesboro Speedway, the research of it, the and eventual usage of the track in some way.
So here's a good question here from J Dark Bowserman in the chat. He said, "What's a time frame for getting an event of some kind there at North Wilkesboro?"
It would take between 7 and 9 months at minimum to get the facility ready to hold an event of any type with the condition it is in today. Timelines are, sometimes they're either extended out way too far, or sometimes you can get things done pretty quickly. But as it sits today, between 7 and 9 months just to hold your first event.
Another question in the chat, and this is one that I wanted to ask as well, comes from Logan Mayo, who asks, is there a GoFundMe or something that fans can do to help achieve this goal?
No, unfortunately, there's no GoFundMe or any type of fundraising or the crowdfunding that we there was one years ago. There was a lot of promises made from various different individuals. It actually caught the attention of ESPN, who did a segment on SportsCenter, live segment on SportsCenter, as well as it was in dozens of papers and online articles that were printed of this. Sirius XM Speedway promoted this. Some of your very popular sites like J-Ski and NASCAR promoted this. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people who seem to say that they would like to give some money, they would like to see something happen there, but when push comes to shove, it didn't happen, unfortunately. So promises were made, and it just became very apparent that trying to source money or crowdsource money from not only people on the internet but people who are reading the articles wasn't going to work.
Any other questions, you guys?
No, you pretty much answered all my questions tonight.
Yeah, I think that's been very informative, especially for someone like me who, obviously didn't get to grow up in a time of, by the time I was coming into the world, North Wilkesboro was going out of the world. So,
oh, hold up, I got one more question. Sorry, just got to get your opinion on this. I mean, as someone who's trying to save an old school track that used to be on the schedule that was well liked, what are your thoughts on today's new NASCAR?
NASCAR today could be better, obviously, and I think NASCAR and everybody's working towards that goal. I don't think that anybody is just sitting on their hands. I think racing could be better in a lot of different facilities. NASCAR is trying to do that. They're looking at the package that they used at the All-Star race for 2019 for I think about 17 or 19 different events. Um, whether it's going to help, I really wasn't pleased with what I saw at the All-Star race. I was very pleased at what we saw at Bristol. I think people are going to be very intrigued on what's going to go on at the Roval at the end of September at Charlotte. I think that'll reinvigorate a lot of people who like road course racing. Um, Overall, I think there's some tracks that either A, need to shorten their events, or B, only need one event per year, just because of the lacking of support that is apparent today in today's NASCAR. But I do believe that there's a lot of people out there that are working as hard as they can to try and fix the racing, so it is more enjoyable for those not only going to the racetrack, but those that watch from home.
Well, it all sounds pretty very informative here, and Steve, we definitely appreciate you taking the time to come on with us. And I don't really think I have any else more to ask that you haven't already addressed to us.
Yeah, just where can they find you and express at least some support over social media?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on tonight. Everybody can follow us at Save the Speedway on Twitter, or they can go to savethespeedway.net, which will redirect you to our Facebook page. We post a lot of information. We mostly interact one-on-one with Twitter, but we have a ton. And then we post a ton of not only videos but pictures, stories, research that we found, and anything that is relevant or pertinent to North Wilkesboro on our Facebook page. So you guys can check us out there, interact with us, send us messages, and we'll be glad to answer anything that you guys or anybody has.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Once again, thank you for coming on tonight. We all appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
You have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
All right, I'm going to send a link really quick to MDK and Cody.
And also, I got two things to say. So first off, you guys click the like button. The last time I checked, we had like 27 likes, something like that. And also, secondly, to answer your guys' earlier questions, where's Eric? He's currently in Florida helping his sister.
Yeah, he's at the biannual Bob Ross Impersonators Convention.
Yep, he's there. So he's right there, guys. Oh, I had to throw in another Bob Ross joke. I like it.
You stepped on my toes there, Darren. I was gonna make the joke, and you went ahead and told me.
Sorry, I kind of killed it for you there. My bad.
The joke is actually the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if maybe it has an update on my side, but it says 101 watching, 60 likes. That is a terrible, terrible, terrible ratio. So hopefully it's updated since then, because
hopefully.
I don't know what it is for the rest of you guys.
I'm showing 102 and 62 likes. So
come on, y'all.
Hey, I do see Rusty Walrus is finally in the chat here. Took him long enough.
Right.
No, he has mod status, but I don't.
I don't think I had it on yours, so.
Yeah, you do.
Oh. Well, then type something so I can add you.
Yeah. I did. Tragic.
Oh, who is this?
Oh, we got a chair.
Oh, hi.
That's awesome.
How's it going, man?
That's awesome.
I wanted to grab something. I dropped an SD card on the floor and I went to pick it up, but I hit my head on the desk.
What a debut.
Hello.
Well, first off, having another black guy on the podcast, that's good enough as is, but then you just enter like that.
Yeah, my apologies for that. It just looked bad.
Hey, we've said it plenty of times. This show is not racist or anything. The only race we care about is the one on Sunday. So.
Hey, what's up, Cody?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Cody.
That's good. Oh my gosh. How about that weekend in Bristol, everybody?
Holy crap!
First of all, I just want to say, Cody, I love your setup here, all the diecast and everything. You got the legit setup going on in there.
Thank you, man. I'm kind of jealous of Jarrett's setup he's got going on. He's got, I think, the most memorabilia.
Well, the funny thing about this one is, so my computer's busted and we don't have any more at my house. So I'm actually at my grandparents' basement right now.
Oh, really?
At their bar in the basement.
That's awesome.
But yeah, they got a pretty good setup.
My most favorite thing in his grandparents' basement is that what was it? The Sundrop soda from like '79 or '80 with Dale Earnhardt's picture on it.
1979 unopened Sundrop with Dale Earnhardt's picture from his rookie year.
You could sell that and make a lot of money with it, probably.
Oh, they ain't
this
selling
thing's
that.
probably gonna get passed through the generations.
Yeah, they ain't selling that.
If we can,
It's like a family tradition.
if we can ever get the podcast to where it's getting 100,000 views, I say he needs to drink that.
No.
I'm already gonna risk myself with watching 50 Shades of Grey sooner or later.
If you want him to die, then go ahead. Yeah, but anyways, guys, Bristol. Like, I guess I'll start off, man. Wow, 10 out of 10 race, and maybe some people might disagree with me on that stuff, but this race had everything. It had great battles for the lead, wrecks, a ton of drama. Especially the race was so good, it even had drama on Twitter. But we'll get to that in a little bit. With Truex's should I like wife or girlfriend? I don't know. They're not married,
Partner.
so our partner. Yeah. I'll just say with Truex's partner.
We'll play it safe.
Yeah, we'll play it safe with Truex's partner. And also Kurt Busch winning as well was pretty. I mean, that was pretty awesome because I just saw him last Monday at a promotion event for Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So it was pretty cool to see him and meet him the week of his first win of 2018. So I thought that was awesome. I guess the only thing that sucked was my two favorite drivers in the field, Bubba Wallace and Jesse Little, they were both out on the second lap. By lap two. So,
Yeah.
and to no fault of their own, by the way. So, but yeah, this race was easily top three. You can put it in top three best races of 2018 so far.
Yeah, Kurt Busch is definitely a classic memory of Bristol Motor Speedway. He obviously won a lot back in the day before his brother became one of the best.
People forget that. They forget that. They forget how dominant he was.
Kurt Busch was like his brother back in the day, and this is such a classic Bristol race, and it's iconic to have such a classic winner like Kurt Busch pulled off. So definitely, really. I've been to a lot of races at Bristol. Obviously, living so close to it. By far the greatest race that I'd ever seen there in person. So many different people led in this race. I felt bad for Clint Boyer because I felt like he was probably better overall during the day, but he came up short. One of the best cars I've seen overall during the day, and I think if he had a little bit more time, they got like a restart like 15 to go, and he wasn't really the best on the restarts, but on the long run, he was probably one of the best cars. I feel like if they had another 10 laps, I feel like Chase Elliott could have probably got that one because he had an overall good car during the day. And I was wrong. I said he would have struggled, mostly because he hasn't really put together a good race like that at Bristol yet. So it's good to see him do that there.
He actually I think he had the best long run car out of the whole race. It seemed.
I think he did too. Like I said, they got that restart like 15 to go, and it just wasn't enough. I would have loved to see that place if he had won. Gosh, that place would have been hopping.
May have not been 150,000 there, but it sure as hell would sound like it if he won.
Oh yeah. Well, it sounded like that when Kyle Busch wrecked both times. So I mean that place, and when the night before in the Xfinity race, that little as small as the Xfinity crowd is, they still got loud when he was out of it, and it was so weird because like he just started off and like pulling away from everybody on Friday night, and it was like, oh well, Kyle Busch going to dominate and win it like last year. Oh no, he's not. Never mind. Wrong.
See, I was at a small party during the race, but they had the Cub game on in one room, and I was watching in the other room the race going on, and so I'd missed bits and pieces, but it was like it was really good. Like it was like the perfect mix between the new progressive banking Bristol where it's side by side all the time, and then that beating and banging Bristol that we're all used to. I definitely think the last 20 laps or so, Jimmy Johnson was trying all by himself to do that with, if you ask Busher and Kyle Busch.
A lot of times I was sitting there watching, and I was like, this feels like I'm at like a dirt track because everybody's like, there was like 5 cars close to each other. Like any one of them could be the leader at any time. And I was like, this feels like a good race going on here.
Yeah. And it was like, I'd put it probably, and maybe this is just my bias. There's definitely top 3. I think the 2 Bristol races, and then I personally think the Chicagoland race was the best all-around race of the year and the finish and stuff. But this one, like, I think this goes down as another iconic Bristol night race. I might be overstating it. I might, I don't know. Like Kid from Georgia said, what I said in the video. It's the same racing we got that made Bristol great, just with a different skin. Like, that's what we have right now.
Overall, earlier in the spring, we're still high on what happened over the weekend. We're still forgetting how good the spring race really was. Yeah. This year was a year where something happened somewhere that Bristol took itself back this year. And now it's still going to take a little bit to fill Bristol back up. A lot of people just claim that they can't really afford the cost of tickets up there anymore. Maybe that's an issue, but as good as racing is getting, it shouldn't be much longer before we see a full house of Bristol again.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think?
I'd say at this rate, I think we've seen the past 4 races have been extremely good, in my opinion. 2017, the spring was good. 2017, August was good. I think maybe I give it 4 or 5 years before you see like a decent crowd at Bristol. I mean, still, like, what was it, 95,000 people showed up. That's still a pretty good crowd for.
Yeah, it's hard
at this situation for NASCAR. That's still a pretty big deal. The fact that almost 100,000 still showed up to Bristol.
And that's such a huge venue to sell out to begin with. I mean, was it hold 200,000 people, something like that?
150, I think.
160,000.
Okay.
160, 162,000. I can't remember what it was.
I think they took it down and put some suites in and stuff, because I think it's like 156 or 158 now.
Well, they did hang up. They hung up some banners that have the greatest moments of Bristol up at the top, so it takes away a few of the seats up there. But overall, the only time that I've ever seen Bristol full was at the football game a couple years ago.
Yeah, I'm glad that we finally, again, I personally think that old Bristol, that's my favorite Bristol ever, but what made that great was more just that beating and banging old style NASCAR racing. Whether it's a conveyor belt like it used to be, whether it's side by side, like now, we got it back. And like we were saying last year too, we had it. I mean, granted, I don't think those races were anywhere near as good as this year's have been, but it's like you've sort of seen since 2015 the racing has gotten better. Now, maybe again, it's probably just the PJ1 grip on the track, but still, it's not something that's a huge gimmick or something. So I don't get why people are complaining about that. If it makes the racing better and it doesn't take anything away from it, really, I don't see where anyone should have a problem with it. These races were great. I think that at this point, this is about the point where NASCAR fans are sort of finding a place to complain about it.
I have to agree with what you just said, Jared, and I also kind of agree with your last upload last night too. It's hard to argue against that. But I think it's pretty safe to say once the NASCAR track contracts are up in 2021, I think it's pretty safe to say that they'll probably add more short tracks. I mean, they see the racing and stuff, they see the fans like it. I think it's safe to say that they know what the problem is, and they'll add more.
I could potentially, and I don't know for sure if this would happen this way. Maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. If they can't get a lot more short tracks to add, potentially see some of them getting a third date even. I don't know.
A third date?
I don't know.
I think maybe. Even after 2021, when NASCAR can decide to come up with a new contract, I don't think tracks are going to be willing to give up their dates to maybe allow a third to allow like a new short track. Maybe you might see it a third Bristol or a third Richmond, but I don't think you're going to see, I don't know, let's say Xfinity go to Memphis, or you're not going to. I don't expect maybe in the next 2 or 3 years after contracts are up to see NASCAR go to a new or return to a old short track, because
You wouldn't see them going to Iowa?
Yeah, Iowa, but like they went to Memphis, Nashville. Those.
Oh,
types
you're
of
talking
tracks
about.
where-
So you're talking about like where they go back to a previous track that they currently don't run on anymore.
Yeah.
correct.
Like,
Yeah,
okay. The only one of the only few
I feel
that
like
I think.
NASCAR is now in a situation where like they have some tracks have to give in order for the sport to like I guess grow more in terms of like a schedule. Because
I definitely can see Pocono possibly losing a date and someone like Iowa picking that date up.
Well, and then the thing fans need to understand about NASCAR is that, and just like any sport, is you're not going to see that immediate return, right? Like good races like this and 17 and then the spring race in 16, the good races, right? But this NASCAR fans especially, they don't, it's not like we're all a bunch of really rich people that can just, oh, the race was good, let's go to it now. We have to, we're talking about going to Bristol 2019. We've been talking about that for, once that comes around, for over a year.
It's gonna happen.
I wanted to plug that, but there's gonna be some of a lull period before you start seeing those returns, both TV ratings wise, but also attendance wise. And I'm just hoping that NASCAR realizes this, doesn't play it down, and be like, well, the ratings were down again, and the attendance didn't really increase that much, so really what's the point, that kind of mentality, because it's going to take another 2 or 3 years more for Bristol to start seeing gains and returns on what the racing now is producing. You see with different changes and stuff. For instance, when the Chase was implemented, it took about 1.5 to 2 years before ratings started going down, which a lot of people attribute to that. They need to, I guess my point is that fans need to kind of curb the enthusiasm of, we're going to get a third race at Bristol, or we're going to get, the ratings are going to go up. I think they will, over, like, the ratings and the attendance will go up for Bristol over time. I just think that we shouldn't expect it to be even next year. We should expect 2020, 2021 to see the returns of what we're getting right now, I guess.
And really quick, I don't think we've heard Cody's thoughts on the race. What were your thoughts?
I thought it was a good race. I thought it was like an 8 or a 9. It was cool to see Kurt Busch finally get a different winner this year from the big 3. Now all we need is Amarola, and all of Stewart-Haas will be in the playoffs. They can have the sweep.
And really, thing is, all the big 3 really had problems during this race. Kyle Busch had 2 wrecks. Martin Truex got wrecked by Kyle Busch. Harvick had issues with his tires. The big 3 just was not a factor in this one.
And I see in the chat people are saying the 1.4 rating down from a 2.4. A big part of that too is that last year's race was on NBC and this year was on NBCSN, and they also moved the start time up. So I'm just saying they probably would have been down a little bit, but I don't think people should be too concerned or alarmed about the big dip that we had from different years. I think it should be on NBC every year. That's my opinion.
Well, every race should be on Fox, just the main Fox and NBC networks.
What happened to the time when every Fox race was on Fox? Every back when they had it, ESPN had it on ESPN or ABC even.
Well, it's pretty simple.
Dumb moves to make cable networks on a dying platform. That's what happened.
And it's also pretty simple. These networks, they don't have faith in the sport. They still have some faith, but it's not fully there, because if they did, all these races would be broadcast on their main networks.
At least Fox has like some sort of, I guess, faith in NASCAR. Some majority of the races are on the local network. When you look at NBC Sports, 3 straight of their biggest races, Bristol, Darlington, and Indianapolis, they're all on the cable network. For those type of races, I would put on a local network, because those are major races that you could cater to, I guess, a bigger audience. They might check it out. For example, Bristol, a casual fan or person that has no interest in NASCAR might look at that race, might get some sort of interested in, might tune into the next race, which let's say will be on a local network. They might get into that, and I guess you could garner some sort of fan base. But
When here's what I'm
I think of
nervous
the
about.
20 races.
It's
I think of the 20 races.
Okay, go ahead. My bad.
Sorry. I think of the 20 races NBC has, I think like 12 or 13 of them are on a cable network, and then I think the 8 or 7 are on NBC. I mean, IndyCar has more. Is going to get more local races than NASCAR, but.
Well, and something I'm nervous about is if anyone remembers the previous contract, the first 3 years, the Bristol night race, and then the final 11 races of the year were all on ABC. There was like 5 ESPN races, right? It was kind of like how Fox is now with the schedule. After the ratings went down for 3 straight years, they decided they made basically an executive decision: every race on ESPN, and then have only the Bristol night race, Richmond and Charlotte. Richmond and Charlotte, whose product has diminished definitely in that time. So what I'm nervous about is that like Fox is going to see, oh, the ratings are still going down, be like, let's just move it all to FS1 and milk this for what we can get for our cable network. Because
the Daytona 500 on FS1.
I don't think that. No, they're not going to do that. But I'm thinking like the very next week, Atlanta being on FS1, Vegas, just putting races like the 500, the 600, Talladega, maybe Bristol on Fox. Like, and that's the thing I'm nervous about, is that if they don't get their way, they can just pull out the contract. I'm pretty sure.
Real quick, talk about Foxes. If I want to give a shout out, the Truck Series was on primetime television. They were on Fox during the Thursday night.
Yeah. I wouldn't say
constipated, but
I wouldn't say prime time, because there were a lot of people in NFL markets who had preseason games that night. They could not watch the race. For example, NASCAR Racing Fan 2015, he was able to, but on this old dusty TV he found in his I think it was his parents' basement, I believe. But like on DirecTV in his market, it was a preseason game, and then the race would I believe it was later showed on tape delay. But everyone was saying, oh, it's prime time and stuff. But I mean, for it to be prime time, everyone, it has to be available to everyone to watch it. And unfortunately, in some markets, it wasn't.
Well, I mean, the different NFL games, like the game of the week or whatever. Like,
it's
I remember
preseason.
What I'm saying is, like, during the NFL season, they'll have the game of the week or whatever the hell on Fox. Right. And it's like, watch the Vikings and Packers. Well, that's not on every channel, but it's still considered like the prime time game, So that's what I guess I'm saying, is that like it doesn't have to be on every market, but the fact that it's available to everyone that would be in the market to have that race. Like that's just sort of where I go for it.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, that was a great race, though. That was an awesome race.
Yeah, the like I said, I went to all 3 races, and all of them were exciting. I hated John Hunter Nemechek. What happened to him? I thought that he had it, and something happened there at the end. That's twice that it's happened to him this season.
I'll say it again. I tweeted this out. I know it's his dad's team, but they're holding him back. Mm-hmm. They're holding him back, man. I mean, that's 2 races. The Chicagoland one he had in the bag, but his fuel guy didn't get enough fuel in, and he was about half a lap short. And then this time, there's some sort of mechanical failure, and he loses what was it, a 6-second lead with a few laps to go.
Here's what you got to hope for.
The commentators didn't notice it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, here's what you got to hope for there to be good racing all weekend and for an awesome cup race and everything. You have to hope for a really good truck race, and then for John Hunter Nemechek to find a way to screw it up at the end, whether it's his fault or not. If that happens, then the rest of the weekend's going to be great.
That's true. It's true.
Based on the trans, John Hunter Nemechek needs to choke.
I mean, I'll say this, no offense to Joe Nemechek. I've always been kind of like a fan of Joe, but his team's never going to be top level. But the fact that his son is doing what he's doing and the equipment that they've got, that shows there's true talent there of John Hunter Nemechek.
His son is basically carrying that team. Thankfully, Ganassi sees this and they offered him a part-time ride. I'm hoping he can get a full-time ride in the Xfinity Series next year and go after that
Kurt needs
championship.
a replacement in the one car after 2 or 3 years, right?
Right.
I mean, that car is such a good car. We've seen Larson winning it several times this year. We saw Larson, Reddick, Bowman winning it last year. You know, that is a good car. And someone needs to drive that 42 into Xfinity Series full time next year.
He's ahead of Michael Annett, or he was in the standings for a while there, and he doesn't even start all the races.
I'll give Michael this. He got his first top 10 of the year this weekend.
Oh, wow. Wow. You know what? He should. I mean,
praise the master.
That's sad. He should be getting a top 10 every single week.
He should.
Hey, but Junior apparently has faith in them, or his sponsor. But
hey, Darian, you want to debate Kamikaze on it?
Oh my gosh! No more debates for me. No more debates.
Okay, I do want to say I was waiting on this a little bit. I did see in the chat that looked like some of our IndyCar people followed back over after last weekend.
Hey, at least they're back.
But I do want to say this. Thoughts and prayers going out to Robert Wickens after that crash he had at Pocono. Just great to see that he's alive. I was definitely it gave me Dan Weldon vibes. I'll say that.
Thankfully,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, well, I mean, just thankfully, I wasn't watching it. I was moving into my new place, and I saw all over Twitter like, "Oh, this is Dan Weldon all over again." I was like, "Who?" And then I saw the wreck, and I was like, "Wow, that was bad." And I think ultimately, he wasn't it was serious, but it wasn't as serious as people thought, because when the guy made the announcement, he's like, usually, I mean, mainly the problem with having 5 drivers is that in the care center at the same time is that you get information, out slowly. So I think the whole time, it was just the serious injuries. I don't think it was life-threatening, I would say, but obviously he has a serious spine injury and 2 broken ankles. So that's bad, and I hope he can. I just hope he can race again, to be honest with you.
Speaking of debates, in the aftermath of that wreck, I got a question for you guys. Do you think we should find an alternative to catch fences or raise the safer barriers, as David Land's suggesting? What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, see, I don't know. That's just such a hard thing to really say yes or no to. You you can't prevent people from seeing what's happening inside the facility, but you got to keep cars in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a better way. I think that what we have right now, for the most part, definitely in a stock car, I would say is it works just because there's protection. But there has to be a way. These sport, racing has, for the most part, not been complacent since the death of Dale Earnhardt. So I would think that they got best minds probably in the world about it. I think that they can figure out a way, but I don't know what the way is yet.
I think it just depends on the track. Obviously a track like Bristol, the way they've got it, I think it's fine. Bristol's not one I'm too concerned about. But a track like Pocono, that particular part where that wreck happened, there's no grandstands right there.
Yeah, no grandstands, nothing behind it. Raise that wall.
When it's a certain area where you're not preventing any people from seeing it, I think that's fine to go ahead and make that change. Yeah, it makes it, a little bit more risk. It's still the risk regardless, no matter what, on the area where the grandstands is. But if there's an area where you're not preventing anything, then yeah, I mean, who's to say at a track like Talladega, I don't really think there's much seating at all in the back stretch. Like there's probably just a little bit. Who's to say at a track like Talladega you can't do something like that on the back end? You could, maybe
easily could.
I mean, I did watch David Land's. Wait, was it a video he was talking about that in, or did he?
He's just been sending tweets, various suggestions and discussions in the aftermath of that accident.
So I did see those tweets and stuff, and I have to agree. Yes, we do need to raise those 2 things, but windscreens. We need windscreens on these cars. Obviously, we can't use a halo on the Indy cars because, from what IndyCar fans have told me, it would block the vision. For for like, racing at oval tracks. But
yeah, with Formula One, when you're going back and forth, that little bar right in the middle kind of doesn't impair you as much because you're kind of going back and forth. But something with the oval, it's kind of fixed in the same spot. It impairs the drivers from what I've heard.
I thought at one point there was a plan to have like a kind of like a little bit of a closed cockpit area for the Indy cars.
Well, it was rumored, but I mean, obviously it hasn't gone through. I mean, we need something on these cars. I mean, we had a death in 2015 because of that, and Formula One's the first to sort of add like a halo on there. I don't know. I felt like IndyCar should have done that like literally the next year. You should have put something.
IndyCar has done like some tests earlier this year. Like I remember Scott Dixon ran like had like a clear windshield to test it out at Phoenix. I remember. So I feel like IndyCar, they're planning something like that in the future. But yeah, I think that to do it sooner than later to prevent something from happening. Because Hinchcliffe had a piece of debris come at him. I don't know if it was at him or near him, but I think it injured his hand.
Yeah, it hit his hands.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
And just
hopefully we'll be able to at least stand, because so far we don't know the severity of the injury. It could be like a minor injury where he could come back healthy, or it could be
I'll say
massive injury where he paralyzed.
I'll say
they had 2 titanium plates in his or rods in his back with screws in it to try and stabilize it. So I mean,
I'll say this, NASCAR is my favorite motorsport to watch. And what I like about NASCAR, and a lot of people say that, in 2008, when they changed the way the cars up, they said, oh, these cars, they now suck. These things race so terrible. And granted, maybe they did, but I understand why they went to this style of car. It's bigger, it's safer, and I feel better watching a product where I'm not as scared that my favorite performers each week might not be there next week.
Right. I mean, it's just terrifying. Like motorsports fans do not want drivers. They don't want to see their favorite drivers they don't want to see them die. They want to see them define death. You know what I mean? They want to see these crashes and stuff at the same time. They want them to walk away. And I mean, when you have a serious accident like this, especially to an up and coming superstar, in my opinion, in Wickens and stuff, it was just a horrible accident. It was just a terrible situation all around.
Yeah, anything else on it? Or do we think we covered that pretty well?
Oh, you were roboting for a second.
Yeah, I wasn't even seeing it in the hangout.
Yeah, I didn't even see you. Go ahead, say it again.
So do you think we got it all covered well, or
pretty much?
I think that
pretty much.
Yeah, we went from talking about Bristol to talking about the safety of cars. So that's how the show always goes.
Yeah, we always go wherever, pretty much.
So what's everyone's
news? Let's see.
What's everyone's thoughts on Bill Elliott's return this weekend coming up at Road America on the Xfinity?
I love it.
I don't expect Bill to win or anything, but I do hope he can maybe get like a top 10. That'd be nice to see.
My grandparents seem to think he's just going to run a few laps and then have someone else sub in for him after that. I hope that's not the case. I want to see him run the whole race.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. They've hyped it up too much. Like they're ready to sell the diecast and everything.
It's just so odd to me. Like, we have the throwback race next week, basically the throwback weekend at Darlington next week, and he decides to race at Road America the week before. Like, I mean, it's still great that he's decided to do this one-off race and stuff. But at a road course, I don't know. It's pretty odd to me where he hasn't even raced at a road course since Infineon in the Cup Series in 2007. He did get his first career win on a road course, by the way, in the Cup Series at Riverside, but that was his only career win on a road course, pretty much. So I don't know. It would have been perfect if he decided to do to come back at Darlington. But I mean, nonetheless, it's still great to see him back in the race car, though.
I still think it's ironic that the weekend that they announced it was when we was at a road course. Chase won. I think that's a lot of irony there. And when I was at Bristol, I was at the Team Chevy stage. Got a chance to meet Alex Bowman. Met Chase Elliott again. Got an autograph from him and took a picture of William Byron while I was there. But anyways, like I was listening to Chase Elliott talk when he was up there, and the question got brought up. How did Bill even get like into this? And apparently, it was kind of like by accident, so to speak. I guess Chase working a little bit with GMS during the time. They're all confused with the whole Gallagher situation and all that. But apparently, Bill was just like joking with him and like they didn't really have a driver lined up for this one. And Bill was joking. He was like, "Well, I'll drive it." And apparently, the people at GMS like just loved that idea so much, and it's like, "Okay, yeah, we'll make it happen." So jokingly, and Bill got a little too into it himself, and Chase said, "Well, next thing you know, he's driving."
I think the reason why maybe Bill Elliott picked Road America because for the past couple of years he has raced at Road America multiple times, just in like the local type of racing series. So I think maybe that's why he picked Road America, because it's a track that he's used to in recent years. But I find it funny how his son is going to be spotting him this weekend. When at Watkins Glen, Bill was spotting Chase. So it's just kind of funny how things work. I guess.
Maybe it's meant to be.
Like son.
I do think it's good to have. Chase there. Heaven forbid, I think he'll be fine. But if something happens and Bill says, "Hey, I don't really know if I'm actually going to be able to physically do this," Chase be a good backup, I guess.
So really quick, speaking of GMS, I don't know if this is official and stuff, but someone in the chat said that Dalton Sargent has been released and Spencer Gallagher is going to take over for him. I didn't know that.
Yep. That's happened. I don't know what it is.
I mean, he was doing pretty decent in that truck, though. I mean, it wasn't like all that great. I mean, no, not even close. But I mean, he did get a third. I mean, he did get a. I mean, he was
not even close.
Yeah, he was the highest finishing truck driver at the Pocono race this year. He finished third, right behind Eric Jones and Kyle Busch. So he could have made it then, but I mean, best of luck to him.
It's always sad to see someone lose their ride.
No, that's not true. It's not. Well, halfway through the season. Okay, I thought you said it's always sad to see someone lose their ride. No, some of them.
No. It's worse halfway through the season, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing.
Because it's like hey, I've got my year planned out. I've got my job lined up, and it's like, oh, you're fired halfway through. It's like, oh.
Right.
I just imagine that SpongeBob episode where Squidward's on stage and they start throwing tomatoes and then someone just goes, "Boo, yes, strike." That's just how I imagine that driver feels. Everyone's a critic.
Yeah. So
speaking of
really quick, because it's so close to it. We're only 51 weeks away from Bristol 2019, guys.
Yes, that's going to be sort of the official/unofficial NASCAR con. I don't know exactly all who's going.
NASCAR is VidCon.
Yeah, it's going to be their VidCon and stuff.
You guys should do like every time you go on a podcast, just have like a countdown with Larry Mack. Like we're only 500 days from the night race at Bristol.
You can buy those things that like give you the time or whatever, like counting down. One of us should get that and like have it
right,
like minutes and seconds or whatever.
But
have it at the top of the screen like a ticker.
But this gives people. We want to see as many people as possible get a chance to come to Bristol, and we'd like to meet a bunch of y'all. Actually, I was very fortunate. I got to speak with someone who's been following the podcast more on Eric Estep's channel. I was talking with this guy. I was casually eating with him. Seemed like a good guy, about my age. And then right before I walked off, I said, "Hey, if you're ever watching any NASCAR stuff on YouTube, feel free to check me out." And then he said, "Yeah, I watch a lot of things on YouTube. I watch Real Radman and Eric Estep." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm friends with those guys." And I said, "Do you ever watch the podcast on Eric's channel?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah, that's me. I'm on that." And then he couldn't realize, he couldn't believe he's just sitting there talking to one of the guys he watches every week. And it's like, that's kind of neat right there. But we want to see a lot more people and interact with you. Just treat you like we would everybody else.
Now, are we going to be going to all 3 races that weekend? Is that the plan, or is it just?
It just depends on what people can do. I mean, I might just be going to the Cup race next year.
Okay.
Yeah, same
Then-
here.
Yeah, I want to go to
Yeah.
all three.
Oh, all right.
Are we
well,
all in?
Well, me and Jarrett, we're gonna go to all three at least, I guess. It sounds
So
like.
I gotta
It
ask,
just,
I'll
it just
be
depends
out
on how
here,
things. It just depends on how things are next year.
Right.
So I do have to ask.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it depends, but just all things go right, we're all going.
Yeah, I started saving up like
Planning on
a
it.
couple of days ago. I just started saving up like I'm trying to save up a ton of money so I can go there, and also the place Danny showed us to rent. Not bad, not a bad deal, by the way.
No
Still
bad,
not
no
official.
bad, no, not at all.
Still not official though. I gotta wait till I get a full price on that. If
Gotcha.
if it doesn't work out, we'll look for something else.
No, I'll sleep in a friggin' cardboard box next to the track if I have to. I want to go, man.
Right.
Oh, they're saying that I do 188s in here.
Yeah, he is. He said he asked, "Is anyone going to Dover next year?" Nope, not me. I'm not going.
Dude, go to Bristol, man. Come on, we got to get everybody here.
Right.
I want to see everybody here. I want to see all the people in the chat. I'm telling you, man, this works out. We do this right. It's gonna be amazing. And I think we should do a special at Bristol for
Right.
the podcast. Have everybody come on.
That'd be so
Yeah,
cool. Have, like,
even
the
even
track.
even if it means pushing it back a few days, do that. I don't think there's a way we can do it at the track. We'd have to, because we wouldn't have no internet connection or anything like that. But
Hey, we should set up like a table or something like that, and just have like meet and greets if there's enough people who know us up there. Maybe.
well, you have to have you have to pay for the students.
No, who cares?
Have it
We're
right
just making our
outside.
own
Have it right
thing.
outside the fence. Have it like right outside the track grounds. Just be like,
No,
welcome
no,
to
dude.
Bristol.
Dude, like even the places where vendors sell outside the track, I spoke to someone. Those are like
Yeah.
almost $1,000 to do that.
Yeah.
Could find a way to get a little Wi-Fi hotspot thing to have our own Wi-Fi
right.
setups to do a
Mhm.
podcast that way.
We'll set it up at. There's a McDonald's down the road from the track. We'll do it there.
All we need is one camera. That's all we need.
Right.
Because I mean, if we're all gonna be there, we can just all talk to each other. All we need is one camera. We
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
need something that
I mean, really, you just need a phone and just internet.
Look,
is really all.
I'm-
That's
gonna-
what I did at Chicagoland this year. I did that for four
Yeah.
different occasions.
I'm gonna be honest here. I want to go to both Bristol races next year. I'm gonna be really honest here. I would like to go to the March one.
Hey, if you're working
well.
with Las Vegas, you might be able to get a good deal on a ticket.
Yeah, because they're the same. They're part of the same track company, I
Yep.
believe. Yeah. So
And NASCAR Heat 3 with that $50 off.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, that's if you get the hard copy, not the digital copy. I'll probably just
I'm
pick
getting
up the
hard copy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
no,
get.
I don't care if
Pre-ordered already.
I don't care if it means that I have to wait. I always buy hard copy just because I want that coupon. And also, I'm one of those guys who still remembers the days of going to the store, getting your PlayStation 2 game and your case, and it's just memories to me.
NASCAR
Right.
Thunder 2000.
2004. And speaking of that game, I was playing that today, like the other day, and I was thinking that guy who does the voiceovers, we have to get him on here sometime. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
So yeah, I'll try and look for him.
I'll look up his name really quick and
Yeah, his name's
Okay.
no, it's Anthony something, but yeah, there you go.
Real quick, I want to bring up something. You talk about guys doing memorable voices and stuff. Phil Swift of Flex Seal lied. He lied.
liquid rubber. I can.
Phil Swift said he was going to be at the Bristol Motor Speedway from 2 to 6, and then last second that day says, "Oh, I can't make it. There's bad storms, and so sorry, our Flex Seal crew can't be at the race." And
You really wanted to see him saw a boat in half.
he said maybe I should just go Flex Seal the sky. He must have did it because the rain held off and it was fine the whole day. And I went over to where the Flex Seal area was. There was just a big wrapped truck and trailer, nobody doing anything, but there was Phil on the trailer, his image. So it's like, Phil, I wanted to meet you. I wanted to ask you when a car collides with another, does that make a lot of damage?
Yeah. Here, that's actually what I was gonna get at. Carnation or Raw Gator, whichever one of you is in the chat. Make a compilation of every crash at Bristol this year with that. That's a lot of damage voiceover. Do it.
No. Do something with the Flex Seal car anytime it crashes.
Do it. What's that dude's name again? Anthony, whatever.
I forgot. Wait, hold up, guys. Hold on. Let me. Sorry, my computer's acting up. Hold on, I gotta go really quick. I'll be right back.
Someone said we should get Phil Swift on the podcast. I wish we'd get Phil Swift on the podcast. Do you realize how many views we'd get of his presence alone?
That's such a great name. It's like Scott Speed of marketing.
Phil Swift. What I love about the video that John Tron made about Flex Seal is he brought up the best point. It's always somebody with a name like Phil Swift or Johnny Starr, and in his words, just to quote him, he's like there's never anybody like Jehovah Krakowski or something like that. You know, it's never anything weird like that.
Hey, so really quick, sorry for the delay. Really quick, so I had gotten a text from my mom saying, "We know what you did," and I was like, "What?" And then it said, "Come home now." And then it turns out that it was my brother on the phone. So I was like, oh, I had to get off. I'm like, what?
It's like, damn, Darian, I told you, leave the webcam off whenever you do something in your dorm room.
Gosh, yeah. So thanks a lot to him.
Hey, I give you kudos.
Yeah.
Oh, so real quick here, Darian. Everyone can see you're clearly in a new area. Tell us about the horrors of you moving.
Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? It was so I'm supposed to move in Friday to my new place, which I'm in now. Well, this wasn't. I'm actually not supposed to be living here. We're supposed to be somewhere else. Then I move in, and I first open up the apartment. There's a microwave on the floor. There's the fridge is full, so I can't put my own stuff in the fridge, which we're supposed to be sharing, by the way. Then there's all stuff on the shower and stuff like that. And then there were 4 couches. It smelled like shit. Sorry, excuse my French. But it was bad, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not living here. This isn't what I paid for. Either you move me somewhere else or cancel my lease so I can get my money back. So,
Darian, was it Andrew Anthony?
Yes, it was Andrew Anthony. Yes, that's the guy.
All right.
Yeah, but thankfully I moved into a new place. It was unfurnished, so we had to get a bunch of furniture. My roommate's pretty cool, by the way. And yeah, so I'm just happy to be living here and stuff.
Hey, Darian, do you have a bunch of print-offs of various wrecks on the wall behind you? Is that what I see? It looks like I see Kyle Larson, 2013 at Daytona. I see Matt Crafton upside down.
Darian, the way your room looks, I gotta ask, is the neighborhood called Shawshank?
Yeah, I saw a comment. I mean, I got other stuff right here too. You know, I mean, I got all my stuff hung up over here. I mean, I got my video game set over here and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's just the RAM stuff is on the other side, and then over here I got well, that's the light. I have my lighting right there, so I won't point it out over there directly. But yeah, I have my desk and all that stuff over here too. Beds behind me, and then closets in front of me as well. So, but yeah, I saw some of there were some people were like, oh my god, is this is that a prison cell or something like that? But so that was pretty funny.
Well, the RAM stuff is iconic though.
Yeah, I know it is iconic. I should probably rearrange it so you can at least see something. Something Rams in the background instead of just these pictures my mom printed out for me. So yeah. I'll probably do that.
As it for every bit of Rams memorabilia you buy, a St. Louis fan dies.
It's funny. My roommate's from Seattle, so.
Runnings Racing says you guys should talk about Natalie Decker's YouTube return and her still ignoring you.
Oh my god, yo! So
I think at this point, Natalie Decker is canceled for this.
It wasn't even started. It's canceled.
No. Just the idea. It's just
the idea. So I'm just unpacking my stuff, and then I see she uploaded. I'm like, holy crap! Natalie Decker she finally uploaded, and I asked her in the second video she uploaded the other day, show us your subscriber count, because I don't know. So I guess let's play a little game here. Let's guess Natalie Decker's subscriber count?
All
What would you
right.
say?
3,000.
Hey, yeah.
I would say maybe like I don't think she has more than Danny though. So I'm gonna say
Quickie.
2,000.
Rusty Walrus says we should get Ultimate Dragon.
Hey, I'm down, dude. That would be so hilarious. I'd be down for that though. To be honest with you, that'd be so funny. I just probably. I mean, to get a real life meme on the podcast, I don't think that's ever happened before.
I'm just gonna stay quiet on that because I have nothing personally against the girl. So
Well, I got accused of wanting somebody to die from her, so I have a little beef.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's understandable.
she's left positive comments on my forgotten NASCAR driver stuff. So I got no problem.
What
with
do
it.
you need to change?
It's nothing personal. It's just
No.
I don't know. It's just some of the stuff she says. I don't agree with, especially about Jarrett. That was crazy. I didn't agree with that, but yeah.
Oh,
Anyways, let's
What are some other NASCAR memes you could try to get on the podcast? Try to get Rick Allen.
Oh, God.
Oh, did you watch that one stream? I forgot who said it, but basically, I think it was Raw Gator said that that his kid showed him one of his videos or something, or somebody showed him one of the videos on YouTube of him saying problems or whatever, so he got self-conscious and stopped saying it.
Yeah,
That's what I
on,
heard.
Like a Cars 3 trailer. Was it on that?
I'm not sure.
I remember this YouTuber named Balto Racing. He uploaded a video on the trailer for Cars 3, and it was just Rick Allen just saying problems. And Rick Allen actually like retweeted it and said something I don't remember. But it was kind of funny his reaction to it.
Yeah, everyone making fun of him he finally realized it because I haven't heard him say that in like years.
So
Yeah.
Now
get
he's just
Mr.
saying
Slide
around
Job.
before it goes around.
Sylvie King, get Mr. Slide Job on the podcast. Trust me, I would love to. I would try my hardest at that.
So really quick,
he is on the podcast. He's on it right now. Look behind you. I see him right there.
So really quick, I just thought about this. Like, hey, it'd be cool to get a real live meme on the podcast in Ultimate 23 Dragon. But I just remembered I'm on here and I said John Deere, so I'm kind of the first.
Oh yeah, you're the meme.
So, yeah. So I honestly shouldn't be talking. So
You either bring on a meme or live long enough to see yourself become one.
right.
Speaking of that, there's no race this weekend. The weekend after the Darlington, the John Deere car will be running.
Hey, the John Deere. I'm gonna say it right. The John Deere car is gonna be running there. It'll be great to see that car run in like 20th. That's where it actually used to run when Chad Little drove it. So it'll be a total throwback to that. It'll be a total throwback. I like Jesse Little though, but Chad not so much.
Speaking of that car, a lot of people wanted to purchase that car in a diecast version. Unfortunately, if you want that, you will have to get it custom made by somebody. John Deere will not allow that car to be made by Lionel Racing due to contractual obligations with EBL, whatever the company is that makes the diecast tractors and stuff. They have it's a breach of contract for another diecast producer to go out and make something with the John Deere logos on it.
Stupid legal mumbo jumbo. Everyone loses.
So speaking of I don't know, we had some rumors on last week. Should we talk about some certain rumors?
And
Let's tell the rumor and then say whatever you think so it'll be.
Let's approach these with caution.
Right.
Possible future.
And granted, at this point, we don't know enough ourselves to even tell you for sure if anything is right or wrong. We have theories of our own, though.
Well, the person who told us this, he knows, but he won't say nothing.
Are we talking about possible future aero packages?
We're talking more about like silly season stuff.
Oh, okay, never mind.
EBM going to Cup? Is that it?
Nope. It's something that we got told literally like 2 or 3 hours ago.
However,
I have no idea.
However, that was a big rumor coming out after Bristol because Kyle Busch said something about how he needed to talk to Kurt Busch about something else, not anything to do with his win. He needed to talk to him about something else. So that makes people wonder.
Yeah, but it's like, again, it came from Reddit. I mean, it's like taking something to heart from Reddit is where the main rumor came from. Taking something to heart from Reddit. I mean, it's like asking a hooker for like safety.
And it makes no. I mean, just honestly, I would love for this to happen. It would be pretty cool, but realistically, it makes no sense if you're Kyle Busch. I mean, you're already in a terrific situation. He's leading the regular season standings by 43 points, a pretty wide margin. So basically, almost a full race ahead of Kevin Harvick. And he's won 6. I believe it is 5 or 6. He's gotten 5 or 6 wins this season. So it makes no sense for him just to jump and start his own team. Just move his team up to the Cup Series and stuff. I mean,
here, I'm gonna read out the rumor really quick.
With all of that being said, Darian, the thing is, everyone knows that the Joe Gibbs alliance with Furniture Row is basically not going to be there next year for whatever reason. But this is something that Kyle may have already been talking to Joe Gibbs about. It could be something that, Joe Gibbs has a lot of other drivers he doesn't want to lose that are in the developmental system. It could be something that Joe Gibbs simply doesn't want to lose them. And I'm sure there'll be sponsors, if they do this, that will go over from Gibbs to KBM if they come up the Cup.
Oh yeah, M&M's is definitely moving over for sure.
But it could be, just something like that. Personally, if they do that, I don't see Kyle keeping the 18. I could see him possibly getting one of his other iconic numbers, maybe bringing back the 54 or something like that.
Oh, 54 or the 51 in the Cup Series? I'd like that. That'd be pretty cool.
51 is already Rick Ware Racing, but
yeah, we've seen it in the what a Kyle Busch Motorsports car looks like in NASCAR Heat 2 in the Cup Series. With
the only thing that worries me about this is that they tried this once already in the Xfinity Series, and they did awful.
One win in 64 starts for that entire team as a whole. The last time they raced in the Xfinity Series was Parker Kligerman, and he finished, what was it, like 10th, 11th in the standings, something like that. Someone can go fact check that really quick. And Kyle Busch didn't even win for his own team. It was Kurt Busch who actually ended up getting the only win.
Kyle would go on to win a lot in the 54 Monster Energy car, but it was when Joe Gibbs basically brought the charter on over and basically told Kyle, hey, I'll let you finish out the contracts you had secured for that. You just run the team under my equipment, though.
Just think about how bad that whole situation was when Kyle Busch can't get a win in the Xfinity Series. The Xfinity Series, where he wins multiple races every year. That was bad.
All right, I'm going to read that rumor really quick. Again, everything not confirmed, blah, blah, blah. You all know the drill.
Right.
Expect a team to switch manufacturers in the coming months, not Levine Family Racing. They're going to Toyota, and it is a somewhat big team.
And it's a two-car team.
Two-car team, yes.
So, with that being said, we do not do predictions this week because there's no race coming up. This is where we replace our weekly predictions with who do we think this could possibly be.
Well, and first you got to just wean out all the teams that are 1 car, 3 car, 4 car.
So Ganassi is in the Ganassi, Roush. You could say front row, I guess, as well. Mm-hmm. Who's another 2-car team?
JTG.
RCR.
And it could be a 1-car team going to a 2-car team.
That's right.
A 1-car.
Well, the rumor.
Well, I think it's a 2-car team this year.
Yeah.
On the chat right now is saying RCR or JTG. Some are saying Ganassi, please, but for the most part, it looks like RCR or JTG, and that's seems about.
I'm going to go ahead and make my guess first, and again, we don't know for sure if this is true. So if we say this and we get it right, hey, that's just good on our part. My guess is to the simple fact that they're switching over to Toyota. It's not Levine Family Racing. Big rumor that was coming out is that Ryan Preece was going to be going to JTG Daughtery Racing, and we wouldn't be seeing AJ Allmendinger anymore. My big thing is that I don't think that Toyota wants to lose Ryan Preece, and I think it's definitely JTG that's making this switch, and possibly getting a Joe Gibbs alliance. I don't know for sure on that. Definitely, I don't think Joe Gibbs wants to lose Ryan Preece. It could keep him up, or Christopher Bell. And doing this could keep them able to still do some stuff in their Xfinity program here and there too.
Yeah, and earlier I thought maybe RCR, because I know they had talked to Dodge before they left about switching, so it wasn't out of the realm of possibility. But it's like the more I think about it, between that, because we talked about that a few weeks ago, between those points and the fact that RCR is looking at adding a third team for Ty Dillon, I don't see anyone now other than JTG. I think they might be taking over where Furniture Row, if with their partnership that's not going to be there next year, they could take over as that team that sort of is a filtered team for them. Which then begs the question: what happens to Furniture Row? I think this year's silly season might be the biggest one since Dale Jr. left DEI.
I hope that Furniture Row can do something, because it would be just so heartbreaking to see that team go from a team that was struggling to be up there, becoming a championship team, and then just vanishing a few years later. That would be a big letdown right there.
Michael Waltrip Racing all over again.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
No,
I wouldn't say to the point
they
of
on the same level.
themselves. Waltrip killed himself, basically.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Boyer was second in points, and with that team, and within 2 years, the team was gone.
And David Rudiman was arguably getting better and better before they had to let him go.
I saw his only win in Cup, live. They were a good team, but I'm not saying the same circumstances. But I'm saying is that you kind of see where these teams where
I feel like
they lose their backing, they're done.
I feel like Michael Waltrip Racing was a team that just couldn't invest in one driver for long enough. Like we saw when they first opened up. Granted, you do what you can. I think it wasn't the smartest idea to just start off with two veterans that we knew wouldn't be around much longer, with having Michael and Dale Jarrett both. And Dale Jarrett ran one full season in 07 and then like 5 races in 2008. Probably wasn't the smartest decision to go with that. And then they brought in they had David Rudman since they started. But then when Dale Jarrett retired, they sent Rudiman to the 44 the rest of the season, brought Michael McDowell into the 00 for the remainder of 2008. Then after 2008, they get rid of the 44 entirely. UPS jumps over to David Reagan and Roush, and then we had David back in a 00 of Aaron's, and then it just bounced back and forth between so many drivers.
Well, how about correct myself really quick? I know chat probably has too. Ruben won twice. My bad. Who really remembers Ruben's career?
Oh, yeah.
And then,
I forgot he won the 2009 Coke 600 due to rain.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget after MWR lost all their backing, like sponsor-wise, and then with, over time just technically were falling back, and they were straight garbage. They were garbage. They weren't just garbage. They were garbage. Mm-hmm. Now, who's to say that losing a technical backing and alliance for Furniture Row might do the same thing to them? Because what's it been now? 2-3 years now that they've had to rely on this, not have their own stuff. And even before that, they were with RCR, which was a slowly sinking ship as well.
Which, granted, they got a win in RCR equipment. So I don't know.
They made the final four.
They also finished like 27th in points that year, And then you're talking about
2014.
Hold on. I'm talking about I forgot 2015. My bad. I was thinking of Regan Smith. Jeez, y'all yellow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we were about to.
When you said Final Four and then finished 28th in points, I was like, wait.
I was like, whoa.
I was thinking beforehand. Jesus Christ.
We were the whole chat for a second.
I'm gonna
everything
friggin' cuss again, and you guys keep that up.
Everything before Kurt Busch never happened, except for that one Darlington race. Everything before that, except Darlington, never happened.
Oh, I love that radioactive.
Well, first off, let me start off with my prediction by saying, if you really want to trigger old school, like old NASCAR fans, like really old, just have the 3 switch to Toyota. Imagine the freaking uproars there would be from old school NASCAR and stuff if that happened. Basically, I saw someone in the comments saying that Dale Sr. would basically roll over in his grave if they switch the three from Chevy to Toyota. But honestly, I don't see RCR switching. I don't see them switching to from Chevy to Toyota.
Actually, this is a bold decision right here, and I might get some hate over this. I think if Dale was still alive and running DEI, if they had seen an obvious performance there in 2008 with Toyota, they might have switched over then.
I mean, it would have been crazy, but
I don't think so.
I mean,
that was saying with Childress's alliance and stuff
in 2008. You said?
I think by that time, if they had been, obviously had better leadership, could have been a different story.
I don't.
Man,
you think you would think DEI would switch from Chevy?
Hell no. Man.
Well, we'll obviously never know. But I think if he was a smart businessman and he saw an opportunity to get better performance, I don't think they would have not considered any option.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think maybe after this year, probably, maybe if Renault was alive, he might switch to Toyota. I mean, I know a lot of owners are probably saying we wish we had that TRD alliance or whatever.
Imagine this too. During that time that Dale Jr. was looking for a new team in 2007, there was rumors he could have went to Gibbs. And at the time, they were a Chevy team, but they would have switched over to Toyota next year. Could you imagine Dale Jr. driving a Joe Gibbs Toyota back then?
I don't think he would have. He said he wanted to stay in a Chevy though.
Yeah. But at the time though, they were Chevy. So I don't know.
Yeah, right.
This is like the most NASCAR conversation ever. We're still stuck in the mid to early 2000s.
It's because I missed the old days.
Back to the good old days.
So really,
don't get me wrong, it was a hell of a lot better back then. But.
Yeah. So really quick. So here's my prediction. I think it's going to be Chip Ganassi who switches over to Toyota. I mean, you said a two-car team, somewhat big. I mean, they fit the mold right now. Now, I mean, you could say Roush, but I don't see Roush leaving Ford all of a sudden to do that. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, they're already in too deep with Ford. I don't see that happening. But I think Chip Ganassi he's starting to realize, like, man, I have, like, Kyle Larson is my whole franchise right now, basically, and we're gonna soon have Kurt Busch come over as well. So I need to provide better cars for these guys and have better factory backing. And Toyota fits the mold for that. I mean, I've said before, imagine Kyle Larson in Joe Gibbs equipment, driving for Joe Gibbs. He would have multiple wins already by now. I would say,
agreed.
Yeah. I mean, we would have a big four by now and stuff. And I mean, just imagine Kyle. I could see him doing the same thing and just with some sort of Toyota alliance, or some sort of alliance with Joe Gibbs or something like that. So I could see that happening. So don't be surprised if Chip Ganassi switches over to Toyota. I mean, because it was kind of a huge surprise when they made the switch from Dodge to Chevy, I believe. When was that again? I believe that was in
2009 or 2010.
2009.
That was when they had that Earnhardt alliance with.
Yeah.
The whole reason that they did that was because they bought out DEI and they wanted to still keep the Chevy, I guess.
Right. So I mean, it's not right. So it's not that big of a surprise when you really think about it. I mean, they've done this kind of move before. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did another huge one. And also, like, Scooter's Earnhardt, by the way. But go ahead.
If they do switch over, with Kurt Busch coming over with them, I want to see SHR release the 41 over to Chip Ganassi because I want to see Ganassi have that 41 back.
Oh yeah, I would love.
Can you imagine
for the simple fact that they could do some good
throwback?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
That would be cool. That would be so awesome. That'd be so fitting, to be honest with you.
Oh, I would love that.
A 41.
Maybe Kurt could even like get a little makeup or something and make it look like he has a black eye. Make it a real throwback.
So I want to hear your guys' opinion, predictions. First off, Cody, you start.
And I have no idea. I'd basically just be guessing at this point. You guys are probably already taking all my guesses. Maybe since it's just a smaller team, my guess would be JTG. I don't know if the season Allmendinger's had. I don't know if he's going to be racing forever. Yeah, I don't know.
Are you in your closet, by the way? I wanted to ask.
No, I'm in a little. This is my closet.
Oh, okay.
I'm near my closet. I'm not in it.
Yeah, 'cause the room area looks very small.
It's just a little nook and cranny in the corner of the room.
Oh, okay.
Looks cozy
Okay.
though. Wow.
Yeah. I see him. I've always thought he was like, doing his live streams in his closet. Every time I watch his NR 2003 live streams and stuff, I always thought that. So yeah, MDK, your prediction.
I agree with Cody. I say JTG Doherty. I mean, if the rumor of Ryan Preece maybe coming over there, it would make sense for JTG to form an alliance with Toyota. And also Christopher Bell says he wants to move into Cup. Obviously, Joe Gibbs, they don't have space. And Furniture Row, if they were to stay, they probably wouldn't have enough to money or sponsorship to make a second team. So JTG would be the most or the best case scenario to switch to.
That is one good thing about JTG. They have strong funding from the Kroger company over there.
Oh yeah.
What could have been? Bubba could have been driving that second car by now. He could have been in the playoffs. I don't know. And also, by the way, I want to call myself out again.
With Richard Petty.
And also, I want to call myself out again. I said Doherty wrong last week. I said Dottie. We're talking about that rumor. And I watched it over again. I was like, oh my God, again. So it's already John Deere, and now it's Dottie instead of Doherty.
Darian Dottie.
Darian Dottie.
Darian Dottie.
Dottie Darian.
And just like that, another meme is born, guys. So I'll be here all
You
week.
have like someone there as like an real life spell check for you.
What's funny is that even in our group chat on Twitter, my autocorrect spells stuff wrong all the time, and I always have to correct it. So like you guys know what I'm talking about. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
what's funny is I have a thesaurus over here, and that I do go through from time to time, and I do know some big words, but then I get simple words like John Deere, and so it's either really smart or really dumb for me. So unfortunately,
I'll be honest. When I first heard of John Deere, I thought it was also Deary.
see,
I will be honest. I thought it was also Deary.
I told you.
Why add
Where do
the
you
E
live?
at the end? Me?
Yeah, like if you don't mind me asking, like what state you live in.
I'm in Florida, South Florida. So
It's something you
We
gotta
got
be.
biggest boy here.
You got to be like me and live out in the country where every other person might have a John Deere or something.
Yeah, Illinois.
Why is
Same
there
way.
an E at the end though? That makes no sense.
yeah, it doesn't.
It makes no sense. It
I
shouldn't.
don't know
be
why
there.
where is there an E at the end of stare?
Because there's a different type of oh my God.
Silent E.
Oh my goodness.
Digging yourself a hole, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
IDK has a question for you, MDK.
I don't live in Miami. I live 1 or 2 hours from Miami. I live in the Pompano Beach area. So yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Miami if F1 were to have a race there. I would love to go.
I mean, is that confirmed yet?
No, they're postponing to like 2020.
Oh.
But you can tell they really want to have F1.
It
race
seems
there.
like the perfect location for a U.S. Grand Prix in the United States. Like Texas, yeah, that's like a big racing state. Don't get me wrong, but like for Formula One, it's like flash and it's all flashy and all that stuff. Like Miami seems like the perfect place, and also to a certain extent Vegas maybe. I would love.
Yeah,
to
like
see
I made a video on F1 race in Miami. Like Miami has a lot of different types of culture and a lot of tourists coming into Miami. So, I mean, you could put an F1 race and appeal to new foreign people that probably don't care about the sport or don't know anything about it.
What's funny is Vegas did have a Grand Prix there in the early '80s. Yeah, the Caesar's Palace. So I mean, it's possible they have a history there, but I mean, with Vegas, with the Raiders coming here, with the Golden Knights on the rise and stuff, and if anyone watches WNBA, we have a pretty decent team, I guess. But yeah, you laugh. But yeah, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for that.
Real
Everything
quick,
good is happening in Vegas. Nothing good happens here. Dolphins suck. Heat are average. Marlins are complete garbage.
Florida is just I'm just gonna say it seems like a crazy place to live in general. Anyways,
real quick here.
I'd have to agree with you on that.
Real quick here, Cody. Who you joined by there?
He decided to climb up on my lap while I was busy. Wow, this is Winston.
Winston.
Is he named Winston after the Cup Series?
No, but that's what I think of every time I hear his name. Now I just need Nextel and Sprint and Monster.
So,
Yeah.
Cody, I gotta ask, what part of the country are you from?
I'm the Milwaukee area, up in Wisconsin.
Ah,
Live an hour south of you.
Are you a cheesehead?
Yeah. I was restraining myself earlier when we started talking about football. I could have gone off for like 2 hours. I can't wait for football season to start.
All I have to say is
too.
I feel sorry for you because the Rams are going to definitely win the Super Bowl and the Vikings are just going to dominate that division. So it's pretty bad to be a Packers fan right now.
We'll have to see. All I can say is the NFC is up for grabs. There's a ton of teams in the NFC that are looking pretty strong as hell. And of course, the AFC is just the Steelers and the Patriots.
Wrong.
At least your teams are gonna win a game this year, so be happy for that.
Who are you a fan of?
Or are you a Cleveland fan?
No, but they probably.
Do y'all hear what they're doing in Cleveland right now with Bud Light?
They
If
probably
Rodgers
have a better
goes
shot
down
than
again,
the
we
Dolphins, though.
Yeah, I mean he's from Florida. He's a Dolphins fan. Dolphins, they haven't been relevant since I don't know.
Marino.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear what they're doing in Cleveland right now? What Bud Light is doing? They've installed coolers and refrigerators full of Bud Light, and it's locked. And the only way it'll open is if the Browns win a game.
A regular season win.
Do you know how much of a cruel prank that is?
Wow.
No. Do you realize how many of those are going to get broken into, though?
Yeah, it is Cleveland.
It's like, look,
I saw a picture of one, and it's got like glass on it, so that's just begging for a brick to go through it.
So, I do want to ask our guests real quick, getting back to NASCAR, since you guys, more than likely are not going to be on next week with us. You can give us your picks for Darlington.
Right. Yeah, go ahead. And also, really quick, I wanted to say this little theory I have. So on Twitter, I did a poll saying, asking if NASCAR went back to a consistent point system but kept stage racing, would more fans come back? Now, I think they would, but not a whole lot, though. But that got me to thinking, Jim France is currently running NASCAR right now, and he's probably going to be the CEO heading into 2019. He is old blood. He did run NASCAR for a little bit in the late 90s when Bill France Sr. was battling cancer at the time. So my theory is maybe this might be unlikely, but maybe there's a small possibility that in 2019 we get the good old traditional point system back based on consistency. And I see Jarrett's fingers are crossed. My fingers are crossed, hoping that happens. I just want to get your guys' opinions on that. I mean, do I sound nuts? I mean, I usually sound nuts all the time, but do I sound nuts? Or
No,
do you guys agree with this?
I think that's a great idea. I've actually been saying something similar for like a couple months now. I think they should go back to traditional points, keep the stages.
Yep.
And in lieu of like playoff points, have just reward them with like 1 or 2 regular season just cup points like they used to with either leading a race or whoever won the most laps.
And after you add the 10, after the first 26 races, I mean, instead of a chase or whatever, you just add the playoff points to that, with 10 races to go. I mean,
I'm definitely on the same thinking with you. I do like the stages. I do like that, but I do think it should go back to just consistent points for the championship.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even me, I was started watching NASCAR in the post-chase era, but even I know that I would much rather prefer a consistent points format. Now, do I believe it will bring back some fans? Yeah, maybe 1%. I mean, it's not really the points that is the biggest issue. It's just, superstars are leaving, track schedule is boring, on-track product is not good. That is, I believe, is just like a small piece of just a massive issue with it. So
yeah, I mean, I let her said this that number one, the cars are the main priority right now.
yeah, like NASCAR should fix on the cars first, and then you can work on the cosmetic issues.
Right.
I personally think it's more of a rules thing than as a cars. The cars aren't terrible in my opinion. A point that my grandma likes to bring up a lot, ever since this chase format got developed, I mean, for the last 10, 12, whatever races it is of the year, you got 20, 25 drivers that are just basically getting out of the way of these other guys that are actually in contention. I mean, if you're a sponsor of those cars, you don't want to be paying for 12 races worth of advertising if your driver's just moving out of the way of other guys. I mean,
that's a good point. I mean, and also think about this from a sponsor's perspective. I mean, you pay a full season's worth of money into a team and they don't make the playoffs. It's also kind of embarrassing. It's kind of a bad look on the sponsors to a certain extent too.
And God forbid you're one of those drivers who accidentally get in the way and make contact and crash out a chase contender. Then it's just a bunch of bad PR and publicity coming.
It's just like what happened last year. Ryan Newman wouldn't get out of the way and held up Chase Elliott from having a chance to really advance during that round.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, for example, look at Geico. I mean, you think they're proud of Ty Dillon? Hell no. So, I mean, you have to. I mean, it's true. It's true. Come on. True. You think they're sitting there thinking like, man, Ty Dillon, he's going to be a future superstar? No,
I don't know. Right now. I don't know. Geico has just held on to that team through everything. They've been with him. And what I love about their throwback is that they're throwing it back to their original scheme with Max Pappas and Casey Mears.
Now, if only careful what you say to a good driver.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, careful what you say, Darian, or Ty Dillon will complain on Twitter about you.
Oh.
And Runnings Racing brought up something really cool that we need to talk about. Friend of the show, Jesse Awuji, is getting his first Truck Series start.
Yeah.
So, that's awesome.
That's so cool. And I was talking about this with my PR boss the other day at the Speedway. I was talking about who we had on and stuff. I mentioned we had Kayla Eshelman on last week, and he immediately knew who that was because I didn't know this. She's a track champion at the bull ring, so she comes down to the bull ring and she races on a weekly basis. So
she's really good.
We're getting these young drivers on right now, and as we're just starting off as well. Jesse Awuji, he's moving on up into the he was the second driver we had on the podcast. He gets his first opportunity in the Truck Series. I mean, we had Bobby Allison, he's already a Hall of Famer. Dylan Smith, he's making a name for himself more in the industry of NASCAR and stuff, not really as a driver, more so as a guy who's working inside the sport. And also Kayla Eshelman, she's only 16. She might, who knows? She might, be in NASCAR pretty soon. I mean, from what some people have told me and stuff, she's pretty good. So,
well, and you see the definition of in the dictionary of confidence, Kayla Eshelman's picture has to be right next to it after what we saw last week. I mean, it's like the way she was talking. I could take on Kyle Busch. I could take on Truex. It's like that is confidence right there.
I like that.
Yeah. And I saw something that Toyota Racing has said that they are wanting to put in a lot of money to develop a lot more female drivers over the next few years.
You see, really quick, there's a thing on, I think it's Fox, because NBC did something about the series of the NASCAR decades, and I was watching it, which, by the way, we all need to watch. Awesome thing. We need to, the four main hosts, we should do a special where we react to that, because I'm telling you, it's amazing. But Janet Guthrie was in that, and there's a special being made about her. So,
yes.
I mean,
yeah,
how Janet she Guthrie sort of paved the way. She did more for women in NASCAR than Danica ever will.
Yeah, I think it's an insult to Janet Guthrie, who I think she's the greatest female driver of all time in NASCAR. I mean, I saw her stats and stuff. Let's just take Bristol for example. There was a race where she started 8th and she finished 6th. Danica could not do that ever. So, I mean, it's just an insult to her and stuff because everyone's like, well, Danica paved the way for females in motorsports. Not true. There were plenty of females in NASCAR before her, and there will be, and there are still after.
I feel like Danica kind of.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I feel like Danica kind of painted a bad picture for female drivers.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, like, hey, I'm a sex symbol. You know, I can crack.
Oh, we're losing it.
Wait, hold on. Say it again. You were roboting. Here's the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that you know, Danica paints a bad light onto female drivers coming up because here she is. She's getting opportunities, you know, left and right, and she's just crashing and crashing and crashing. Not really trying to improve herself. I don't believe. I didn't see her improving at all. Trying to, you know, do simulators. Trying to go maybe to the lower series and gain experience. Because when she went from IndyCar to NASCAR, she ran one K&N race, one ARCA race, one Xfinity season, and then immediately went to Cup. And everyone thought that she would be amazing.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
My dad thought she would have really well.
What?
Here's the thing that's amazing about Janet Guthrie, right? And to put it in perspective compared to a lot of other drivers, Janet Guthrie, when she first came into NASCAR, when she first raced, and I don't know when they changed this policy, women weren't even allowed in the garage area.
Yeah.
I mean, she had dirt equipment. She worked for everything she got. Like, I don't know how you can say that Danica Patrick is better than Janet Guthrie. Like, just on the fact that Janet Guthrie worked for every single thing she got, every position, every
she never used her body at all. She didn't flash, she didn't flash herself as a sex symbol and stuff. You know, she just was a straight up racer and stuff, and I like that too. I mean, by all means, there's nothing wrong with doing that, I guess you could say. But when the results are as bad as Danica's and stuff, it's open for criticism eventually and stuff. And I will say this, Decker, she's kind of marketing herself that way to a certain extent, not to the full extent of Danica and stuff. But Jarrett, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, Decker is still very young. She still has more time to mature. So I don't really hold that against her as much.
Right.
And I will give this to Danica Patrick. One thing I will say, I definitely feel like she put together a performance one time to where I think she deserved to win that race up in Canada. I do think she did deserve that one. She did do everything she needed to do in that one. Unfortunately, though, situation with the boot, scratching up everything apparently underneath, ruining that car. I will say this: I think that she did do what she had to do to win a race, but it didn't work out.
So it's the one time she complained that it actually wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like in the Nationwide series, she ran like surprisingly well for her first full-time season.
I think that if she would have just stuck it out one more year before switching over full-time, I think maybe it could have been a little bit better. She could have at least got her a few wins in that series, but
still, you know, at the end of the day, Janet Guthrie still, to me, will always be the greatest female driver of all time currently. Oh, yeah. Now, with the way Haley Deegan is coming up, that could change pretty soon.
Deegan can win a NASCAR race. One of these days, she's going to win a race. She's just this close.
I've been thinking all day a video I want to do in the future. You know, everyone loves my 5 forgotten NASCAR drivers. Well, I want to do a series of videos where I do 5 up-and-coming drivers who will get Cup rides one day and name off who I think those people could be. Granted, might be wrong. They might eventually make it onto the forgotten drivers list, but it could be a good alternating series for me.
And what was I going to say? Crap, I forgot. Go ahead.
We sort of went off topic. We still were waiting for we sort of cut off our guests on their predictions for Darlington.
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're so professional here. You can tell.
Sorry.
I'll let Cody go first. I'm gonna study up here.
I don't know off the top of my head who's traditionally been good at Darlington. I'm just gonna go with a pretty boring pick. I think Harvick's gonna rebound from a slow weekend at Bristol and get his 6th, 7th. How many is he on now?
8 win.
8th
win.
Yeah, that's right. Geez, they're racking up quickly. Yeah, my official guess is Harvick for Darlington.
Could say that. Does he have a good throwback this year? I haven't really seen.
It's that Bush beer can from like 1979, something
Don't
like
you mean
that.
See, you're
You're the new Rick Allen. Congratulations.
You guys will
I love that
love.
you said that with
you guys will
such
love,
disgust.
You guys will love when you come to Bristol then, because right when you're pulling up to the track, there's a big billboard there that just says Bush.
God. So cringy.
Also, I'll let Jet get his prediction in, but after that, I want to quickly go back to Road America. I've seen like 5 people talk about Connor Daly in the chat. He's going to be racing at Xfinity.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll let Jet get his pick, and then we can talk about that for a couple of minutes.
Okay, so looking at the trains, Denny Hamlin, he has been really strong lately at Darlington. He has won last year. He right now has the second best average finish of all recent drivers at Darlington. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Hamlin. I think he's going to win.
Yep.
I like his throwback too. His throwback too is his first ever like.
It's very.
It looks like a throwback.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Did that whatever that one company was from Chesterfield, did they pay for that ad on there? Because they were with him way back then.
Probably.
I guess that's pretty. You don't usually see a car with a sponsorship right there in the Cup Series. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Real quick, we talk about Road America coming up. The defending winner of this race is Jeremy Clements.
Yeah, what a finish that was last year.
Yeah.
I just remember that picture on Twitter of him coming on the plane with the trophy and just how excited he was. And it's like that or moments like that and seeing drivers like that win. That's the stuff that the sport,
And
So
that's
it's
also
So maybe Michael Annett can win this weekend.
oh god. And it's also
He needs
a
to have
prime.
some talent, though.
I mean, it's also a prime example of why the playoffs should not exist. I mean, he got his win and stuff, but he didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. So, I mean, that's just another example.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to put my prediction for this right now.
Bill.
So, this week's actually the last race with that Ryan Sieg will have the Lombard Bros Gaming sponsorship for the season. Hopefully, I hope that the Lombard brothers can sponsor him for next year. That'd be pretty cool. It was both of their birthdays on Monday. Hopefully, I would like to see Ryan Sieg get a playoff spot, get his first win here.
That would be neat.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Surprising.
That would be an awesome story. Fuel mileage.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to happen, but my official pick for Road America is Bill Elliott. I can't not root for him making his return after.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to root for him, but I just think a top 10 is more realistic.
Not even that. He's not top 20.
I mean, the car isn't that bad. AJ,
He's like he hasn't ran in like the car in years.
Probably.
Bill,
we'll
rookie.
And I guess since we'll probably be off here in a few minutes actually because we're about to hit that 2-hour mark. I guess in final news, big news this morning. 704 Games locked in has the NASCAR license until 2029.
Yeah, 2029. So there's no excuse for them to not further catch the sink at this thing now.
Yeah, I mean, and they have this huge investment from, what was it, Motorsports Inc. or something like that?
Yeah.
.com, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so there's no excuse. I think honestly, with the way the games have been going up recently, I mean, NASCAR Heat, that was just awful and stuff, but that was the company's first game. And then, the second game was definitely a huge improvement on the first one. I mean, and it's looking like this is going to be better. This game's going to be way better than Heat 2. I mean, we could possibly see these games could possibly be better, dare I say it, than the EA Sports games. Maybe.
Oh, your horizons there.
Maybe.
Let's wait on that. But real quick, I will say this: burnouts are back.
Yes.
Yes.
Finally.
I like how
And-
they styled it. They styled it to make it look like in like 08 and 09 with the different camera
They did
angles.
do it pretty similar to the way EA Sports did it back in the day. I like that. I'm a fan of that.
I mean, I kind of agree with Darian's statement. I mean, I won't be the way they are trending up with every single game is much better than the last. I won't be surprised in maybe 3-4 years, maybe could I be on at least on the same level
As the
As
early EA Sports games in the early 2000s.
I think
with the
they're-
EA games, they were gradually getting worse and worse as the years went
Yeah,
on.
I mean, this is a 10-year contract. I feel like, honestly, they have an obligation, no choice but to go up with
Well,
this
it's like
product.
Corvette Racing 48 says, just do NASCAR Thunder 2004 with an updated roster. That's all we need.
Well, you could actually do that on the PC, though. I mean, we saw it. That one guy, he had those add-ons for the Truck Series in NASCAR Thunder 2000. Actually, no, NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup. So,
I know what you're
it's
talking
possible.
about. I think that was a tweet by Bradley Perez. He was
Yeah.
he was playing NASCAR Thunder 2005 and somehow got Noah Gregson's truck. Like he must have
had a
altered he must have altered the paint files or something.
Yeah, I mean, he had a bunch. He had Gregson. I saw Jordan Anderson was in there, and Matt Snyder as well. Not the whole field. The whole field wasn't changed, but there was a few in there that were altered, though.
Yeah.
I already used like a dolphin simulator or something to change the paint scheme.
Yeah, I think that's what he said he
Yeah.
used, I believe. So, I mean,
When I
you could do it.
When I saw it do like a double take, I'm like, wait, is that Noah Gregson's paint scheme? And NASCAR
So-
2005?
So, MDK, get NASCAR 2004 for the PC or whatever you have, and just do that. You'll go viral on NASCAR
Yeah.
Twitter. I guarantee you.
NASCAR 18 in 2005. Not clickbait.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, it's 10 o'clock here. Our special guest, I'm going to go and give you all a chance to go ahead and say your goodbyes here.
All right, I guess I'll go first. Thank you so much for watching. I mean, thank you for having me on this podcast. Love to do it again. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Click the like button if you haven't already.
I mean, what is our ratio right now? We have 113 watching and 92 have liked it. So let's get it on up just a little bit more.
8 more.
I'm Cody, aka Cody H Gaming. I do gaming. I do lots of NR 2003, iRacing reactions, other racing related stuff. Go check out my channel. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. And let's get those likes up to 100 before we head out of here.
And he has an epic beard too. I'll give him that.
Thank you very much.
I have to give you props for the beard, man. It's pretty awesome.
Goals.
I think it's maxed out. I haven't shaved for a while, and it's been the same length for like a year now. So I think it's maxed
and we
out.
got 100 likes. So that's awesome.
There we go.
Good.
The
And we
beard
also-
has given us the likes.
We have 100
The
likes
beard.
and also 100 viewers right now, so we're perfect.
All right, I'll go next. So I'm the Iceberg. Y'all know that. If you've been watching for the song, you know that. I just released yesterday a new Devil's Advocates, to go watch that. And I have a Patreon. So if you want to like see how I've sold out and been a shill, there you go. Let me see. Next week, let me look on here real quick. Yeah, next week we've got Zach Harmon from Duke, huge NASCAR fan. He'll be on. Fan stream, we got to figure out who to put on there, but we know Rusty Walrus will be there, so that should be really fun. It'll be on my channel again. God, another fun stream. Darian, I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah, so just another great stream, guys. I look forward to these every week and stuff. It just makes my whole Wednesday because before this I never did anything on Wednesday. So thank you guys so much for watching today's stream. I just uploaded a new video, Bad Seasons, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 2009. So go look into that. Last time I checked, it had 500, almost 600 views in the first hour. So I mean, when you do a video on Dale Earnhardt Jr., it's going to get pretty big no matter what. So looking forward to that. That's basically the season that us Junior Nation fans want you to forget, but I'm a stats guy. I don't let you forget anything. So yeah. So just go subscribe to everyone's channels, including mine, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Lives Matter. Catch you next time. And
this is Danny B here, and thanks everyone for watching this week. next week, hopefully we'll have Eric back on with us. He's been down in Florida. If you saw it earlier, I did put up my vlog from the Bristol weekend. I did take it down though, because I did get a copyright claim, and well, I kind of want to make advertising revenue, you know, so I can afford to go to more races. So I did take it down. It's rendering again with a new song in it, so that it shouldn't have to worry about copyright or anything like that. So it'll go back up tomorrow. If you watched the original, you can watch it again if you want, or if you haven't got a chance to watch it, you'll be able to watch it tomorrow. With that in mind, I am going to be working on my part 4 of the NASCAR season review. Probably do another 5 NASCAR drivers you forgot about, and maybe do a part 1 of a new series I might start up, which would be 5 up-and-coming NASCAR drivers who will for sure get a cup ride one day. And with that being said, hope everyone's had fun, and we'll see you next week over on the Icebergs channel. Bye, guys.
Fun. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Really do appreciate it.
Bye-bye.